I'm 10 years old, and I get to spend the summer with family friends in Switzerland. I have two kids, Julien and Magali. Julien is my age and my instant new best friend. Good-looking kid, athletic, scruffy blonde hair, gleeful smile, with a sparkly glint in his blue eyes, because Julien is the kind of kid who's always hatching some kind of plan or scheme or zany idea for maximum fun. Like he always says, on craint le fun au maximum. Because it rhymes. Mostly. He's so cool. I am a shy, nervous, rules-following kid. Julien is a rabble-rousing, trouble-making thrill-seeker. And a kid like that can really only achieve maximum fun with the help of a trusty accomplice. It is obviously a match made in heaven. Julien's family live in the Swiss countryside in a tiny, tiny village called Layovers. Population, 76. There's a lot of firsts that summer for me, and most of them involve Julien and his glinty eye. First cigarette, first time getting drunk, I think it was sherry, or maybe port, a lot of port. Non-stop giggles, we get caught. No regrets, totally worth it. First time meeting and narrowly escaping a pedophile. First time hitchhiking, yeah. Two 10-year-olds hitchhiking. See, it all started with the tin soldiers. Julien has this incomplete set of those little classic tin soldiers, you know, like you can assemble the army and all that, super fun. I say tin soldiers, but they're probably made of lead because it's the 80s and nobody cares about neurotoxins leaching into child's fingertips through their bloodstream. We have a plan. We do a bunch of chores. We get paid, and now we've got the cash to complete the army. But the tin soldier store is in the big city, far away. So we finagle some deal with Julien's dad where he's going to drive us into town on his way to work and drop us at the toy store, and then Julien and I will just take the train back to Layovers. Swiss trains are like safe and reliable and clean, like everything in Switzerland, except for that pedophile, I guess. So, we got the cash. Julien's dad gives us the money for train fare, drops us at the toy store. We buy our tin soldiers. But this store has everything. Like there's comics and stickers and model airplanes and fireworks and a huge selection of candy in bulk, including our favorite, Sugus. It's like a semi-gum, semi-taffy cube, and you put it in your mouth and chew it, and it slowly dissolves, and it's like super juicy, with this lovely super juicy, fruity, maximum saliva situation. Normally we buy them at the corner store, 20 centimes each, but here, now, we might only be 10 years old, and Julien might be a hell-raising thrill seeker. And I'm actually half Indian, but we're both still Swiss enough to do a little money math. Especially when it comes to candy. The Sugus here are 4 times cheaper. And I see Julien, and he's got that glint in his eye. The glint that means maximum fun. And he says, "Hey, Paul, we have this money for the train tickets. Let's just use it to buy a giant bag of Sugus, and then we'll just hitchhike home." He's so cool. Now, I've never hitchhiked on account of being only 10 years old. I didn't think that's something that kids did. But Julien's super confident, so I figure he's an old pro. And in Switzerland, hitchhiking is not illegal, but we're only 10 years old. Julien has neglected to mention that he has never actually hitchhiked before, on account of him being only, yeah, We spend all our money on candy. We walk out to the highway that leads back to the village. Mouths overwhelmingly full with like fruit candy drool. We put out our thumbs and hope for a lift. We get picked up, cool. But this car's only going part way, so they let us out at a fork in the road. Round 2, put out our thumbs, hope for a lift. We get picked up, cool. People are so nice. This car gets us a little bit further. Round 3, thumbs out, hope for a lift. We get picked up. The third car is going to our village. Cool. But they recognize Julien, and they know Julien's dad. Not cool. We get dropped off at home into a ton of trouble. No regrets. Totally worth it. The next time I visit Julien, he's 14, and he's in full counterculture teenage rebel phase. He's got an earring and a leather jacket because those things are cool. And his parents have let him paint his bedroom walls all black. Whoa. And there's all these like strange slogans and logos and obscure band names. And there's this phrase that he's painted on the wall. Il est interdit d'interdire. It is forbidden to forbid. I have never come across such a clear expression of unfettered freedom. My own Swiss dad is super strict. Like, everything is forbidden. So it is forbidden to forbid really hits home for me. It's only a one-day visit. We don't get to hang out that much, or much less get up to any of the kind of on craque le fun au maximum shenanigans, like in the good old days. We climb out onto the roof, though, so that Julien can sneak a cigarette. He's so cool. A few years later, in his late teens, Julien falls into drugs, hard, heroin. It goes on for years, all the classic, awful heroin stuff. His family are heartbroken. And then when he turns 20, he manages to get himself clean. Comes home, he's back, healthy, sober. The long nightmare is finally over. One day, he disappears. 2 days later, they find his body in the woods. Overdose. Suicide. Julien is probably the first person I'm actually close to that dies. Certainly the first young person. He was so cool. I wanted to be like Julien. No regrets. Totally worth it. Maybe sometimes, il est important d'interdire. Perhaps we should forbid ourselves from choosing certain paths. Some of my worst suffering has come from me pursuing a forbidden pleasure. And yet, some of my deepest heartache has resulted from following a good rule in a bad situation. They say hindsight is always 20/20, but hindsight, foresight, insight, and sometimes in short supply, especially when you're only 10 years old. I still remember his gleeful smile, the boundless energy, that sparkly glint when he'd be revealing his next cockamamie scheme for maximum fun. And I still cherish that strange, hopeful phrase he had painted on his bedroom wall long before everything became dark for him. Il est interdit d'interdire. Thank you for listening.